there, welcome back to Created in Awe. I'm Joey. I want to show you our skate rental sled wood kit from the Farmhouse Charm Inspired by Joey collection with the rust cover cottage by Christina. You can see here how meticulously these are wrapped with all the pieces, and we're going to break it down and show you each part. Starting with the skates that are going to hang these pieced together, kind of like little puzzle pieces. You can see the laces in place and the strings that are hanging them. That little string kind of fits right into that slot, and you'll be able to decide where you want to hang it from on the sled. And those are the soles of the boots. If you want to paint these as they are shown here, glue your laces on first and then paint everything and save yourself a little time and then put these soles in place. I'm choosing to paint them separately because I like to have the edges of the laces where you see the kind of burnt laser cut edge. I like to have that showing to make it look a little more rustic, that edge right there. So I'm going to paint the laces and everything separate, and I'll show you how I'm doing that. I like to use a sponge dauber and just a little bit of paint at a time. I'm actually going to spread this out. Normally I would put that in a little tray and dab it in, but I didn't do that this time. So I dab straight onto the surface, and I don't give full coverage. That's not important to me. I'm just trying to get it mostly covered with the paint. And then I come in and I do a swipe motion with the edge of the paint dauber to smooth it out so that I finish covering the wood and I smooth out kind of the lumpy, bumpy texture that the dabbing motion gives. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm dabbing where I've missed spots and I'm swiping it back. You can kind of see that texture right there, and I'll swipe that off. I did that on the boots and the pieces here. I'm also doing, I'll show you here in just a second, there's that texture. And I've also done all of the little pieces, the lace pieces, the words, Winter Wonderland, and the snowflake. So those all got the exact same. I used a white Adirondack from Folk Art in chalk paint. So all of that is now white and ready to go. On the boots, you'll see there are some scored lines. This is just showing you where those laces are going to glue on. Don't worry if you accidentally cover those with your paint. You know, that's mostly covered right there, but I can still see it. This scored line I want to show. So as you paint, if you get too much paint in that scored line, you can take something like this stick pin and just drag it through the lines and clean out the paint. Now do that while it's wet. This one's already dry, but I did that while it was wet and I cleaned out the paint because that's actually going to show in your finished project. Okay, we're going to move over to the rest of the sled. I painted all the sides of the runners in red because as you look at the sled from the side, you're going to see the inside, and I want it to be red. Now the rest of the sled I actually stained with a wax. So I'll do the back of the sled in wax after everything's painted, but for right now, I wanted to make sure to paint both sides of all of my runner pieces. The inside got a lighter coat, the outside got 2 full coats, and I'm going to show you how these go together. The body of the sled and the header, I wanted to be more of just a wood tone, so I used a dark wax, but I only waxed the front side. I didn't do the back because the anchor pieces that we glue on, they don't glue well to a waxed surface or a stained surface, so I'm going to wait until afterward to stain the back. So I did paint all of our other little pieces in the colors that I chose, including the soles of the skates and the arrow, and then I put like a silver color on the blades of the skates. So paint yours however you like. Let's go ahead and glue together the body of the sled. So flipping it over to the back, I'm going to look at how the runners fit into the anchor piece that they're going to go in. So I did sand those 2 inside ends because there is a small rectangle that'll glue over that. And I'll show you here in a second so you can see how those fit together. There's that little rectangle. It'll glue right on. I will add the red paint. I forgot to put that on there, so I'll do that afterward. I'm going to use a permanent quick setting glue and a wood glue. So Titebond Thick and Quick is my wood glue. I'm putting that on there. And this is Art Glitter Glue, and it sets up a little bit quicker. So I'm putting that piece on, and then I change my mind and I have to take it off because I want to put some wood glue on the very thin ends just to help anchor those together. So I added the wood glue, put those together, and put my small piece back on before that glue dried. And then I'm going to clamp it and set it aside. And we'll do the same thing with the runners for the other side. While those are drying, we're going to put the pieces on the back of the body of the sled. We're going to start with the middle. That's going to be a rectangle we put as an anchor. But I'm first going to do my wood glue along that edge. Now, I first cleaned off, you didn't see this, as much of the wax as I could with a disinfecting wipe. And then I'm just going to dot on some wood glue just to give it some extra help. And then we're going to put that rectangle piece on the back side, and that's really the anchor piece. So here's that rectangle. We're going to put wood glue on it, and I'll do the quick setting glitter glue. And we will line that up. It doesn't quite meet up to the edges, so that keeps you from seeing it from the front side. And I'll put a couple of big clamps. And it is important to really let this set and dry. I am going to do that, and then I'm going to come back a little bit later, and we're going to add pieces for the runners. See how it kind of comes apart? And so I'm going to press that together. I am going to lay that flat on another location so that those clamps aren't holding it up. Instead, it's all in the middle. So that's all dry. Now I'm taking the pieces that hold the runners and I'm going to line them up at the edges. That section goes toward the back end, and then the slot part goes toward the top end. So line that up with the edge and glue that down just like you did the middle rectangle. So you can see how that lines up. Those are going to get glued on. Now everything has been setting for a couple of hours to dry. It's nice and solid. We're ready to put the runners in. And I am going to line it up so that the curly part goes toward the back and it slides right into that slot. So I will be adding the glue into the slots and slipping that right inside. Now, you can see that it hangs over the front, and that is going to glue right there. That's going to glue to the back of the header. So I'm going to put that in place. And I kind of did this backwards. You're going to see there's a better way to do it. But that part is going to be glued. And you can see that I skipped putting paint on that edge so that glue will have more, surface area. I'll have to touch up where it's going to show. So there's my wood glue in the slot. And we're going to add in just the same process, the glitter glue. This is just going down into the slot. All of this raw wood is going to get a coat of wax after we're done. But I didn't want that on there before I glued. Okay, so I slid that down into the slot, pushed it back, and I have to have glue on the very front edge of that runner right there, so it will glue to the header. So we're going to come back, holding that in place. I'm adding my wood glue just to the edge. This is the only part where your runners connect to your header. So be sure to let this set and dry, and I added tape to each side of the runner to hold it in place while it did. And we glued both of the runners the same way and let it set to dry. Now let's finish putting our skates together. I did put my wood glue on each of those laces already. Now I'm just adding the glitter glue. And I really have too much glue on these guys. You don't need this much glue. But each of those laces and the sole of the boot are going to get glued on. And I did mine so that they hang over that edge just ever so slightly to kind of give it a little dimension, like the laces are really wrapped around the front of the skate. And I curved my laces kind of with the arch going up. It's a very slight little curve. You could do it the other way if you want. It's just personal preference. And I'm going to glue all of those on along with the sole of the boot. We'll do the other skate as well, same way. That sole meets right up to the edge of the other boot, and your laces are going to have to kind of work around that, so pay attention. But first I'm going to glue the two boots together where they fit in their little puzzle, adding my glue to that edge. And I did use the glitter glue this time because this is the only way these boots are glued together right now, and I want them to stay together. So added that glue, pushed those in. I just have to make sure it doesn't glue down to the cardboard. I will lift it. Later on, I'll lift it before it dries. Okay, here is one way that you can put everything together. And I'm going to move things around so you can see. This is how your greenery will fit together if you want to use it with all the berries and the holly. So it just stacks up, and then you wedge in your little extra leaves there, where pretty much wherever you like. And you could put it in all different places, the center of the header, in either corner of the body of the sled, wherever you want. And you can use all the words. This is one way to lay it out if you want to use all the words. I'm going to show you a couple of other options if you want to change it up. So here it is without the Winter Wonderland, a little simpler, and you can just rearrange it. I've moved the skates over to the left-hand side. It looks good wherever you want. And then that holly greenery is up at the very top. And then if you want to add in the snowflakes, you can. Completely up to you how you want to put this together. You can see, though, that lace right there is going to fit in, and I struggle a little bit here, but I'll get it back in there. And so I am waiting until I know my placement before I glue everything in, because that second lace right there could be arranged in a different way, just depending on the angle you decide to hang it. So there's another option. And here's another one even. So this is moving the skates to where the ties hang from the header. You've got your snowflakes in place, and then I put the holly over to the right. This is how I finished mine. I used some faux greenery rather than the holly and the leaves that were in the kit, and I added a bow to it. I also added rope. This is just Dollar Tree rope. I tied knots, slipped it through from the back, and then I'm hanging it down. You can see I didn't use Winter Wonderland, but I'm going to show you the version of what I made last year so that you can see, if you want to put all of it together, kind of one way that it would look. And here is the back, if you wanted another quick view of how the back of it goes together. And this is it with it finished. I went ahead and stained all of it with the wax. This was how I did the project last year. You can see I added a kind of a whitewash with a fan brush at the edges, so everything looks like it's a little bit snowy. I used Winter Wonderland. I didn't add any faux greenery. And the rope that I used at the top is actually a wired rope so that it stands up. So that kind of is up and out of the way. But here is last year's project. I hope you enjoyed watching the video. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. This is an intricate kit, but oh, it is so worth it to put this together and have this on display. I can't wait to see yours. Thanks for watching. Create it and all. Have a great day.